Maybe your pops was tops. Maybe your father's a bother. If he's angry and mad or in absentee lad, no matter what kind you had, here's fuck you, Dad.
All right. Well, welcome to another episode of Fuck You Dad, everybody. You know what it is. We are back at the Lincoln Lodge. We're in full form now, Kenyon.
Full form. I'm back.
It's been a while.
Back in all elements.
We've been bouncing back and forth, but now we're fully back, and we're with one of our best pals here, Evan Hull.
Hey, how we doing?
fantastic.
Good.
I missed you guys.
Evan, you run a show at the Lincoln Lodge, don't you?
No, I used to, but
you
it
used
gave me. I hated doing it so much.
Okay.
And
it was
not
you-
because of the
It was your idea too. I wanted. Right?
Well, I just wanted to run a show.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it immediately. I was like, I don't want to run a show.
It's an actual
running a
job.
show is not fun.
It was really awful. I hated it, and I was losing money, which I didn't really care about. But I was not. It was not fun
It's not
enough
for a good cause.
that I was like, I can't stand to lose money like this on something that is actively causing me anxiety.
Yeah, it's a whole other demon when you're trying to deal. Once something requires you to open a spreadsheet, it's really
I'm over
like,
it.
damn,
I'm
what
done,
did we do?
yeah.
I
We
want to
fucked
limit
up
the
here.
amount of spreadsheets in my life
Right?
as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
every time a spreadsheet enters, you're like, how do we stop this?
Yeah. This
Mistakes
is bad.
were made.
We shouldn't have gotten to
We
this.
shouldn't
point.
have gotten to here.
Also, it was 7:30 on a Sunday. Like it
Tough.
was.
Oh,
so
ideal time.
Yeah, it's,
It'd be
everyone loves
prime
comedy
going out
right
time,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, and we had a couple really fun ones that were like packed out. Just got lucky, had a great crowd, and then sometimes it's just like, oh, 5 people bought a ticket and they're in from France.
Yeah. I know.
They don't even understand
Sloppy
English.
Sunday.
They didn't laugh at a thing. You're like, oh yeah, traffic's terrible in this city, right? And they're like, we don't know, we just
Yeah, we
got
just got
here.
here.
Yeah, everything's actually awesome about this.
Yeah,
place.
we're here. on
Oh,
vacation.
hair's pretty cool.
dude.
Oh, God.
It was brutal.
So, what have you been? What was the last time you were on this pod? I think it was just me and
It
you.
was almost a year ago, I think.
Yeah, we talked about you diving.
I did dive. Yeah, I remember my brother was in town that weekend. I was really trying to get him to come do the
that's
pod with
right.
me 'cause it
That
would've been
would've
fun.
been- that
and
would've been
his
blast.
answer was, "I don't really do that." And I was like, "How many times
No-
do you get
none of us
offered?
do.
Yeah.
Well, what bad experiences did you have?"
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not like Coke at a party.
He's like, "Did you get molested by a podcast? Like, why don't you do that?"
I'm abstaining from podcasts.
It was very. He took a stance hard. I was like, "All right, I'll go do it then."
Well, I think to people that aren't involved in like comedy and stuff, it's a little nerve wracking to be like, "Hey, we're gonna record a conversation."
But he's going to school to be a surgeon, and so I'm like, "What are you
what do
afraid
care?
of?"
Yeah, you're about to have someone's life in your hands
Yeah,
5 days a week.
Although, to be honest, if I was about to have surgery and I looked up my surgeon's name and then a "Fuck You Dad" podcast
I'd
showed
cancel
up
it
with like
immediately.
150 views, I'd be like, "No, you're not operating
You know
on me,
what's
dude."
funny is that I just interviewed for a job, and I like at one point in the middle of the interview process, I googled my name, and the second clip is me on this podcast, and the
Yes.
title of it is like "Sucking My Dad's Dick," and then I didn't
Nick
get
will
the
get
job.
you with these clickbait captions.
I was like, "Oh fuck!"
I get everybody,
God
dude.
damn it.
I got Matt Banwar
And
with one.
I know they saw it because one of them, and they were all great. Like all the interviews went really well, but one of them was like, "Oh, so you do comedy?" And I hadn't told anyone that.
Yeah, they
And it was
Googled.
not on my resume.
They did the Google.
And so I was like, okay, so they've seen the clip of me and Nick Cartwright
You're
where I'm
welcome,
like, yeah, I'm
everybody.
sucking my dad's dick.
and it's on the Fuck You Dad podcast.
Yeah, on the Fuck You Dad
The most
podcast.
wholesome podcast.
And they're like, let's put this guy in front of CEOs.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, all the YouTube people say to get clicks on YouTube videos, you start with the name because that's what people look up, and then you do the title, and that has worked out a number of times.
Yeah.
Especially with
Makes
the Nick
sense.
Mullen episode and everything. But with people I know, they usually just get angry because they go, "I didn't want anybody to find that, dude. Why is my name on this?"
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't-
well,
I mean-
getting clicks.
Well,
bro.
yeah, because you're doing
gotta
a
get your
public thing.
families
We are
getting clicks.
recording stuff into a microphone
I
and
know.
watching it.
People are
into
crazy.
the-
I don't care, though. I don't mind it. I
Also,
mean,
we're out for the revenge clicks. We want the family to be like, "What's he doing?" Those are the views we need.
yeah, fine. That's fair.
Yeah, if your whole family gets pissed, I mean, that's like 9 new listeners right
Yes,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Chris
don't-
Grieco, it ruined Thanksgiving, apparently. They were like,
That's
"Oh,
like
we saw you on your doing little comedy clips, making fun of your dad."
it be
And I
funny?
was
It's funny,
"Fuck
like,
that."
that's like the point of pride in our podcast. Like, yeah, we ruined Thanksgiving or something. You're like, fuck you, I can't enjoy holidays, so
Yeah.
nobody can.
Do you think everyone in his family is goth also? Wouldn't that be fun? If everyone but
Goth
his dad was
Italians?
goth
Got,
and
like-
everyone agreed, fuck
Yeah,
his dad
yeah.
because he's not goth. Shout out Greco.
Shout out. He was on the last ep. So what's been cooking? What's new in the world of Evan Hull and his dad?
Actually, going to pick him up from the airport after this podcast.
That's fun.
Okay.
So you're about to have
Good
like a
son.
weekend together.
Conveniently visiting this weekend. Yeah. Well, he's coming for a conference, and he calls it consolidating his errands. He always tries to book stuff like for work that are in the cities where his kids live.
That's
so
a good way to refer to visiting your son.
That's
that you
exactly.
love.
He's like, yeah, I like to consolidate my errands. Yeah, I'm like, thanks, Dad. I'm glad I'm an errand.
Yeah. Mowing the lawn and picking up groceries, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's here for a conference, and we're gonna hang out. And
What does that consist of?
he's a lawyer, so I don't. Yeah, it's just they do like you have to do like continued legal education. I
Not
guess.
what he's gonna do at the conference.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I don't
didn't-
give a fuck what your dad.
Wait,
doing.
why
What-
didn't you?
how-
You should have
we're
honed
talking
your-
about what he's gonna do
Oh,
for
I'm
you.
sorry. I
We're
didn't
not,
think.
we're not asking what seminars
I
he's gonna
thought
go to.
that's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
Maybe
who's
you
the
should
speaker?
be
Yeah, the
better
speaker?
at honing in on your questions,
Yeah,
Nick.
I like to leave it vague, dude. Let the
Nick-
guest make a mistake.
I thought you could-
and
it's
then
like
we attack.
I
dude.
thought you
That's
could
our-
figure out what I would do with my father, not what he would do at a conference.
No, our
Does the
interview
PBR
style.
in his hand strike you as somebody who cares about what happens?
No,
in
he's not a
conference?
smart guy. I get it. Okay.
And again, my interview style is ask a vague question, and if I don't get the answer, I like attack. dude.
Yeah.
I attack
This
and
is
make
lovely.
you feel
this
bad.
is the best journalism in the world.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah,
glad. I didn't get a job because of you, and I still came back. So, here we are.
Talk about that with your dad.
What am I
See
going to do with
that-
my dad this week? We're going to go to the Cubs game. Like
That's
Dad's.
a classic dad.
So
thing.
you
That's what I'm
knew,
looking
Ben.
for.
Exactly.
Not really. My dad hates sports more than anything. You don't even
Really?
know yeah. Well, I think it's just his dad was
It's
really
an
into
organized thing.
It's
Anything-
organized. Anything with any organizedness to
Isn't
it.
your dad schizophrenic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
that's going to really piss him off.
He's the
Yeah.
he's the prince of chaos.
yeah.
he has like a Dude,
I would imagine it would be hard to be in a crowd and schizophrenic.
it's probably not fun as his behavior would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just all you got voices here, you got voices
Yeah,
out there.
it's
It's
everything.
overload.
Everything's real and fake. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, when I was visiting him recently, he saw like my tattoo, and he's like, tattoo, you got a real daring streak in you. And I'm like, Dad, you've stole 2 cars on impromptu road trips to halfway across the country. You've been in prison twice.
Oh, my God.
I don't understand why you'd be like, oh, you're great. You made an appointment and kept to it?
Dad, I watched
Yeah,
you
that's
You
yell.
followed through with the commitment?
Yeah.
I watched you yell at a pen for an hour.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Tattoo, dude? I don't have the balls to do it.
It is crazy to be that schizophrenic and also very judgmental.
There was a few times where like we were eating at like dinner and I made a joke about Taco Bell like, compared to diarrhea, and he's like, "That's a little much." And I was like, "Dad, you've thrown a popcorn bucket to someone in public. I've seen you've literally melted down in the amount of places I couldn't go to half
you
my
don't get to
hometown
have
right
you don't get to have any opinions on how other people
now."
act.
Yeah, you've lost that
You
privilege.
lost that
He was
privilege.
like gaslighting me so hard. I'm like, well, that's he even said that later. He's like, yeah, sometimes you guys are just kind of intense. And I was like, fuck.
Once again, screaming at inanimate objects, Dad.
yeah.
In front of my friends.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I was like, my mind was blown. I was
That's
like,
very
yeah,
funny.
I've never made a riff that was so hard. Someone was like, he should be put in a cage for, for observation for 3 days.
Dad, you're intense enough that they institutionalize.
Yeah.
My dad flipped a switch recently because we were chilling. I was visiting them, throughout this past weekend, and we were having a good talk. He was like talking to me about like starting my own business for like editing videos and stuff
that's
like
good.
that. Right? Seems like a good
dad.
positive conversation.
Yeah.
And then like
It's the Yang to Kenya.
like
dad
10
again.
minutes later, 10 minutes later, I'm like pacing around the kitchen because I was trying to think of like a way to end a reel. Because I was trying to think of a goofy sketch to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me, he was like, what are you doing walking around? And I was like, oh, I'm just trying to think of a way to end this.
It'd be funny if he wasn't British, but that's just how Nick hears his dad.
Nick's actually insane. And
Like,
here's his
yeah,
ass. British
dads are British.
Yeah.
Moms are German.
That's how the world works. I don't make up
Sisters
the
are
rules.
Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you.
He was like, what are you doing walking around? And I was like, I'm trying to think of the how to finish this video. And he goes, I have an idea for you for what you could finish. How about you finish your fucking degree? I was like, we were having a cool
To be
conversation.
fair,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
I mean,
you're like, what could you finish? He's like, I'll tell you what you can finish. Like, that's how was like setup punch.
He just remembered how
boom,
many,
boom.
like in that moment, remembered how many times you half-assed cleaning your room, and
Yeah,
like, mowing
yeah,
the
all-
lawn, and just
he-
was like, you
he's-
know what? Actually, fuck this kid.
Yeah,
dude.
he saw me showing effort into something, and he was like, no. You haven't shown effort your whole life. You know, don't start now on
That's
some
so-
bullshit.
He's pissed that this is the thing
Right.
that you finally found.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That is it.
And then I, like a teenager, I was like, fuck you. And then I went to my room, like slammed the door, and then like made my little video in the closet. And I
Really?
felt, yeah, sad.
Oh, you got that.
And then the
you
video
gotta have
got,
a funny comeback to
it
that.
got
or
like,
let it
no,
go.
dude.
Well,
see,
I
that's the
forget-
thing. My dad, dude.
He's very intense.
And there's no funny. If I come back, he comes back 4 times stronger. There's no
That's
like.
how it was with my uncle,
and
Ray, where it's
jib
like,
jab.
yeah,
He's British, so it's
not
smarmy,
pound for
right?
pound.
It's real smarmy, right?
It's
like he
real
can really corner
smarmy.
you.
And it's if I try to jab him back, it's always like, you know, I'm your father. You don't talk to me like that.
That's
like
the
it's
worst.
no like
That's
jib
the,
jab.
That's the
I hate
worst.
that.
I hate
Right?
when someone because that was like when I lived with like great uncle Randy, who was just this alcoholic, would rail into me all the time and try to be like, "We're having fun," and I'm like, "No, because I'm like living with you, so I can't
this
insult
isn't
you back."
fun.
Right,
So I'm
right.
just being bullied by an elderly alcoholic
Yeah.
man when I come home at 11, and that's not. It's not like your buddies.
I
talking
always
shit.
hate it when people install a structure like that where they're like, I'm older than you, you gotta respect that. And it's like, well, you just called me a fat piece of shit. So I don't actually have to respect you.
This man was yelling at me in all caps because I didn't want to go watch his cats. And then it was like, I'm very disappointed in you. And so I sent him a link to like go to therapy.
That's pretty funny.
Right, it was a funny bit. And then he was like, sent me an email later like, your behavior in the spring was disturbed. This is a man who was kicked down the door in his underwear drunk.
You know what you
to
say
yell at
is,
me.
you're not mad at me, you're mad at you.
That would,
And he would stop drinking.
Oh, he didn't respond to what I said. I said like a thought out thing. Didn't respond. And I was like, this is all over watching your cats,
That
by the way.
rules. That's good.
Watching a thing
Do
you
your-
could just put out a dish
Do you and your dad? Do you guys like jib jab like that? Or is
Oh
it-
yeah, no, my dad's very cool.
Oh,
And
okay.
a very good friend of mine. I mean, he's like a cool guy. He's very smart. And he's a good hang. Dude does keg stands still. Like he'll come
What?
to parties and just.
He's a lawyer who does keg stands?
He's a nightmare. He's insane. Yeah, he's a he's like this. He just turned 60, and he's like a later years super athlete. Like to the point where it's like, oh yeah, like dads work out, but like this guy, he'll be like, yeah, I'm training for a 100-mile enduro mountain bike ride, and you're just like,
He
you
doesn't
don't
love your
have
mom
to.
anymore.
Well, that's another conversation.
Any guy who's in his 60s who's like, I gotta run 100 miles. You're like, you don't like your wife.
Yeah, you're trying to run away from her.
I think that they love each other, but I do want them both to get some pussy away from each other.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
that if they did that, things would be. I mean, they're fine, but whatever. They've been together.
It's
for
a
30.
little lame to be married your whole. I don't.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree.
My parents aren't together, and you're like, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're
What
like,
are
yeah,
you?
go out.
You
and get
raised
laid,
us.
you
We're done.
losers.
You're
Yeah.
done. You did the transaction. Go get fucked.
Don't you hate some people like their parents are divorced and they talk about it like they survived the Holocaust? Like it's really not that intensive. When you're like, if
Well-
you're an adult who cares about your parents currently divorcing, like
yeah.
you don't live
If you're
there.
if you're an adult, yeah. I think if my parents got divorced, I might feel a little upset because my sister's still in the house and she's young.
If no children are in
But
the house.
like the rest of us, yeah. I mean, get a
Who
divorce.
cares? Who
It's
cares?
fine. I don't. I mean,
you just have to visit two people.
it's more. It's honestly just it's the inconvenience.
It's
of
more
it
of
is
a
what pisses
logistical
me off,
issue
yeah.
than anything
I gotta be
else.
like, I gotta fucking.
Now you
schedule
gotta have
now.
two appointments.
I have to
instead
see
of one.
my errands. I gotta
Yeah,
consolidate
that
my
would suck.
errands.
That
yeah.
would suck. Yeah, you'd have
But
to
that's the only
consolidate.
thing. That's the only thing. But he's my theory is that he's doing it as like an act of protest of being like, don't be done with me yet because I still have a lot in me. You know what I mean? Like I think
okay.
like
Yeah, yeah.
subconsciously he's like,
Don't put me away. I still
he's
got
like
fresh batteries
a
in me.
dog that's gonna go to the pound, and he's like, I can talk actually. You know what I mean? And then he becomes like
dance.
that. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's what he's doing is that he's like basically proving to us that he's still worth a goddamn thing.
Well, he's probably doing that to himself mainly, but yeah.
No, of course, but I mean, I don't think
It'd be
he's
funny if
consciously
he
doing it to anyone.
crossed the finish line at this race and he just like put his arms up and said, "Don't put me in a hole."
Yeah, and then he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they're like life insurance. That's I did ask him recently. I was like, so we're all not financially dependent on you anymore. So what happens to that life insurance? He's like, well, eventually, if I don't have any dependents, it just goes away. And I was like, we gotta get this done soon.
Yeah, dude. We got to get some rat poison and some breakfast. here.
Something, yeah. Yeah, blueberries in your pancakes. Yeah.
My dad always makes this weird point about how he like almost drowned a couple of years ago and my mom saved him, and he always goes, she could have just let me drown, took the life insurance. It was $1 million, your mother could have had $1
love
million.
telling you how
That's
much.
that
loves
is
that,
like a
dude.
weirdly dark thing.
Isn't that crazy?
Because that
dude?
also.
It's
like,
crazy.
That's like an actually really insane thing.
Yeah,
to
also-
say. Your dad's like kind of latently suicidal. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, tell me about it,
If
dude.
you're just sitting at dinner and you're like, that could have been it. Because if he's like gambling, sending your kid money to make, he doesn't have it. He's like, the pool, that could have been great. My wife would have been fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to sit here and watch whatever Nick's
mean-
up to. Everyone will remember me. That's some dark shit. That is
the
like
funny thing,
your dad
too,
needs to talk to somebody.
Is that like $1 million if the financial, like, if the breadwinner of the family dies, $1 million is not that much money. Like, it takes you, like, you got to get a job after a year.
You're thinking
Yeah.
a year.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking
Where are
about?
you from?
No, do you know what? No, I mean, like, $1 million only pays for so much life after that person dies.
I grew up with my parents making like 20 grand a year.
Okay,
No, you're
I
not
was
gonna
just
have
spewing a
living-
word. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you got to pay off the
Attack,
house.
dude. We're attacked.
You got to
mode.
pay
No,
off
I'm just
the car.
No, but if you just continue your life, like that could last like a very long. Yeah, if you don't go insane, you know.
Yeah,
what I
no
mean?
one's
guess.
quitting their job or anything,
Well,
If I just got
guess
$1 million
No, I'm just
right
saying,
now,
like, if you're,
there'd be
yeah,
some
well,
change.
but you don't. I'm saying for like an entire family, like if the head
Even
of that
like
family
3 people,
dies,
yeah, like 3 or 4 people.
it's obviously not a year, but you know what I mean.
It's a
Like,
fucking payday, I'll
it's
tell you
still-
that.
It's a lot of money, but it's a
10
lot
grand
of.
would make a motherfucker cry right now.
But
So I don't-
I'm
yeah.
saying that there are expenses involved
Oh,
when a person
I know.
dies. I'm not saying you don't just get $1 million and you're like, hell
But
yeah,
you're
we
like,
have
like,
$1 million.
Yeah, like 20
now.
grand for like the funeral and everything. That's about it.
I have no idea how much a funeral costs.
Funeral could be like up to 20 grand.
Mine's gonna
Kenyon's been looking into it.
Yeah,
been
well,
planning
I've
a
been kind of
funeral.
planning for everybody
Yeah.
else. To do my part as a friend.
I don't.
but-
Yeah, it's obviously a lot of money. I'm not trying to. I just
No,
don't.
it is a lot of
I'm
money.
just. I guess I'm just thinking logistically. Like your dad dies, and you got to be like, now we take on everything that he paid for the last like.
Yeah, well, you know, you
fuck
think
that,
about
dude.
okay, let's say your expenses are. We don't need to
I think-
for the podcast, but you know,
I think you
don't
sell the house is what I'm saying. You should.
Oh,
do.
sure, yeah, but then you got $1 million, maybe $1.5 million on that.
That's
Family
true.
goes out,
That is
maybe
funny.
$1 million. If we cash in, you know,
You garner wealth by selling everything instead of buying everything. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
go
yeah.
party for a couple months. Nick Cartwright vacation in Europe. Just got to blow at least like 20 grand. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not being
I'd figure out what to do with it that he would enjoy. You know, it's funny. He's such a gambler.
Would you
I
do
think,
something for him after he died with
Yeah,
his money?
yeah. Oh,
probably.
absolutely.
You lose
Oh
the
my
whole
God,
thing. You
dude.
put the whole
Yeah.
million at the blackjack too.
I'd go
Like-
play, blackjack, craps, all this stuff, and just look up to the sky. Every time I lost, I'd be like, "It's for you, Dad."
He'd be up there fuming in fucking British voice. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Fucking moron!
Fucking moron. Why don't you bet on getting a degree?
Oh my god.
Take the under/over on you being a garbage man.
Yeah.
That was his big thing when I was a kid. Whenever I'd get bad grades, he'd go, "You know what you'll be? You'll be a fucking garbage man."
You know what's funny? Garbage men, they make pretty good money.
Yeah, they have the
In
best.
Chicago.
union?
They have the
Yeah.
best unions in
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah, like if garbage men's like solid, like that'd be pretty good.
And you get to find cool treasure every day.
yeah.
I mean, I could be a garbage man. I'd be digging through. I'd be poking at stuff.
Hey, I bet they won't care if you're on a podcast.
How many
I'll tell you
bodies-
No,
that.
you'd be pretty cool.
You'd be
Yeah.
the cool one.
There's probably a lot of
Yeah.
cool people.
Yeah.
I might look into garbage after this. You know?
How many bodies do you think you find as a garbage
In
man?
Chicago?
Like in your career?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a good amount.
At least
a good
parts.
question.
someone's old tits outside the office?
It's definitely
Somebody's
happened
parts,
once.
Yeah,
I
some-
mean, that's a good day if you find tits.
That would be sick if they.
What do you
found
mean?
a-
What do you mean that's a good day?
You found a
Of all the body
If
parts
I-
to find severed in a dumpster, if there's a pair of tits,
But don't
you're
you
like,
think?
"Oh,
I don't-
I
don't
gotta
you
see
think the
tits."
severed in a
I don't
dumpster would take away from?
Yeah,
the
you
kid?
wouldn't be horny.
Yeah, after
What?
the
No, no,
initial,
no.
after
Let's-
the initial, oh, there's tits. Then they're like, oh, there's
No,
tits.
I don't think if it's a dead body in a dumpster.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm still gonna be.
No,
like,
there's
"Oh,
no body.
It's
no body.
disembodied tits.
Yeah, it's just tits.
It's just tits.
no, there's no face to be like, oh my god. Like,
I
she's
still
dead.
think the deadness is gonna take me out of the mood.
Well,
enough.
okay, playing devil's advocate here a little bit.
No.
You don't know that there's a dead body from it.
right.
It could just
Even
be
worse,
some
just
sick
mutilated.
tits.
It could
Just-
be a liberated trans man. Didn't want those anymore.
A
Chop 'em
great
off.
pair in the dumpster.
Yeah.
I just don't think a pair of bloody. I'm
Like
not
wrapped
horny
in
enough
butcher
that a pair
paper,
of
like it's a
bloody
salami.
Okay, I'm imagining them freeze dried like paperweights, and that's kind of hot.
That is kind of hot.
This is
Or-
gonna be the clip that gets me not hired at the next job.
Oh yeah, no. Could you just explain this? And you're like, and that's kind of
Like,
hot.
yeah, and so essentially two disembodied tits,
You would
freeze dried.
freeze dried. Well, taxidermied.
Oh,
Is it still taxidermy when it's a human?
Taxidermy is so fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah,
you ever
those
been in a
people should
room
be
with-
put on a list.
Those people.
Have
should
you ever
be-
seen bad taxidermy?
I feel like all of it's bad.
That's
Just,
a
I
that's
don't
a
need
fun Google. Bad
Google
tax-
bad taxidermy. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's just cats that are stuffed bad.
Oh, can you imagine open micing taxidermy? You're like, hey, I know your dog just passed away. You mind if I have a crack at that?
Yeah, Spot. Spot. That's the name of the
Spot,
dog.
yeah. Can I get a spot for spot on
Spot
spot?
for spot. Yeah. Cool.
My God.
Well, that's it, you guys.
Oh, do you want to call it?
No.
Oh,
Okay, that-
I
we
thought
just
you
hit
were
It's
like,
such a funny
was
lull.
like, well,
that we all just like, well, that's all we had to say. To
well,
each
you
other.
took us down the disembodied
Yeah,
tits
you
road,
really,
dude.
you really took that.
Yeah.
Okay, I
That-
asked a valid question about finding body parts and then
Well,
Nick
then
was
Nick
like,
was-
wouldn't it be sick to find some
I
body
would
parts
say
over
Nick is like
others?
so permanently 14. It's
Can you
insane.
imagine-
Well, then you'd find tits every day.
Can you imagine if Nick, as a garbage man,
thing.
found like a severed penis and he's like, "Whoa, I'm not gay.
Whoa,
Whoa, you guys, I do not like this because I'm not gay."
No homo, dude.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, that would rule.
Oh my God.
So, what else are you gonna do? You're going to a Cubs game?
Cubs game. Honestly, we're like I said, he's at a conference. I'm working this week, so he's
You
just
ever
like coming to
you,
hang
you
out.
ever get
and-
high with your dad? I got high with my mom recently.
We don't smoke
What was that?
weed.
What was like that? That way.
Yeah, well, so they bought these Delta 8 gummies
Oh yeah, that's all the rage.
because they were like, "Oh,
I've
we're
heard
gonna
they get
try
you
to."
higher because it's a different protein that no one's like used to.
It's
like you're starting
wackadoodle.
over.
So I told him, I was like, "Be careful with that. That ain't like CBD or whatever," because they're like trying to take it for sleep. And my mom was like, "Oh, whatever." And I was like, "No, seriously, just take like a quarter of it." And she was like, "I'm only gonna do it if you do it." So like, I took a quarter, she took a quarter, and I was pretty fine. But she was like, really enjoying herself. And then, what were we talking about? We were talking about. Fuck. I can't remember what we were talking about, but my mom was laughing so hard she like peed her pants. And
Jesus.
she ran to the bathroom. She was having a blast. And then she came back after she peed her pants and was like a totally different person. She was
If I
like,
watched my mom pee my pants, she'd be a different person in my brain too. I'm like, no,
I'm like, we can't come back.
like,
from
yeah,
this
you're not my
conversation.
mom.
We're
You know who
we're
pisses
holding
their
on to-
pants? Children. I'm raising you now,
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time that I've seen my mom like piss her pants or poop her pants. It's she does everything in the fucking pants, dude. So she comes back, but she got all nervous after that. She was like, "We did drugs. I can't believe this day." She said that. This is literally what she said. She was like, "I can't believe this day has come that I gave my son drugs." And
You're
she
like,
kept like doing that, like,
well,
drugs,
My
Nick.
son gave
was
me
she-
drugs.
She went to the bathroom, got caught in the mirror.
In the
and
mirror,
then was like,
and it's like,
you're high with your
Look
son.
at you!
You pissed your pants high with your son, and she's like, "Who am I?"
She's like writing bitch on her
Yeah,
forehead.
and you
lipstick.
got to talk her through it because you're like, "Mom, I've been lost in the mirror a bunch of
Yeah,
times." You
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
realize
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, let me help you through this." You know?
Yeah,
That's the
I
thing
think-
is like,
You're like,
it's funny because then once that barrier gets broken down, like we started talking about all these times that they caught me smoking weed when I lived there, I was like, "Hey, you guys threw away my Batman pipe. That was my coolest pipe." Like we got to have this super open conversation, and then I thought like everything was cool, and then the next day I woke up. It was a Sunday, and my mom was like leaving at 10 a.m. and I was like, "Where are you going?" You know, usually we hang out Sunday morning, and she was like, "I'm going to church," and I was like, "You haven't been to church in." She hasn't been to church in 6,
Damn,
7
you sent her
years.
back
"Oh,
to
so she
God.
was so guilty."
Broke her, dude.
Yeah.
It broke her. And I was like, no more Delta 9, dude, for either of you guys.
Yeah.
Because my dad geeked out on it, too.
You sent her back to God.
Yeah, man.
She was like, "I'm a drug addict," talking to my son about his addiction.
She had a vision. She was like, "What if there is a God?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta go make amends."
yeah, man.
Probably
so,
more likely she encountered the devil. She felt
so
some
she was
darkness
like-
in that bathroom and was like, I need to be protected.
It'd be sick
Yeah.
if you woke up and she was like, "I'm going to mosque." Like she totally
Oh, yeah,
switched
yeah, yeah, yeah,
religions.
yeah,
Was
yeah.
just like someone else is right.
Right. Jesus wasn't working for me last night. Maybe Muhammad.
Maybe
will be the-
Muhammad will be the thing. Yeah, Jewish. I'm gonna
Like,
try
she's like,
Jewish
Jesus
God.
was a little bit of a dud. You know, I'm gonna pick up a
Yeah.
bag of Muhammad.
Pick up a bag.
Damn. That's cool. Yeah. What'd you ask me? Oh, that was because you asked if I got high with my dad.
Yeah,
We don't. We're not a weed family.
Oh,
we don't
okay.
do weed. It doesn't work. In
Oh,
our
that- you
brains.
don't do weed really.
No, I mean I'll have a little, but I don't
Now
really
and then.
like. I don't care about it. It
Yeah.
just doesn't do anything for me. We drank though. My dad and I drank together.
Okay, that's always fun. When was the
It
last
is
time
fun.
you guys got like sloshed together? Do you remember?
Like destroyed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I like anytime I see him now, it's usually at like a family function enough to the point where like we can't get completely destroyed. But he'll
Y'all
get.
different family.
Yeah, I was gonna
functions.
say
Yeah,
that's the totally opposite.
Yeah,
I
it
was like,
no,
that's
family
No,
functions
we're
is like a
so-
hall pass. You don't even care.
Yeah.
We're so fucking high strung in my family that everyone's like nervous as shit and like no one. If everyone's
so that's
together,
why you drink.
Yeah,
I drink. I agree, but I'm the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
one who can get sloshed and still act normal.
And
Like
be-
if the rest of them
yeah.
were getting
Oh,
sloshed,
they're
like
gonna
he'll
be-
get sloshed and he'll puke all night.
no, that's not
Oh,
fun.
that's
Yeah.
not, that's not good.
They're old. My dad had a beer and some Cheetos at like 10 p.m. and he was doing the same thing. He was like, "Oh, I was up all night puking," and I was like, "God, you guys are." I hope I don't do that, dude, when I'm
Jeez.
60.
Well, yeah, age is a thing. You
Yeah.
know, like 60. You
Yeah, I'm
can't,
feeling it
you know.
now.
But I hope I have the not that I don't I mean like not that I hope that I have the brain when I'm 60 to be like, "Oh, I won't have a beer and Cheetos at 10 p.m." You know, I hope that I've learned that
Yeah.
lesson
Yeah.
by the time I'm 60. That's what I'm hoping. I hope I got it together enough that I know I can't down a Modelo and a bag of Cheetos and feel great.
It's one or the other.
Just a beer or
Just
Cheetos,
a beer or just Cheetos.
not both.
Not both.
That can fuck you up, dude.
Yeah.
Just mentally. That's like Sophie's choice.
There's nothing worse than
I take a beer and
finishing
Cheeto and I look at myself
and
in
then
the mirror
licking
like
your
your mom.
Cheeto fingers, dude. Oh man,
Yeah.
slob.
It's like your
dude.
mom taking Delta 8, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Drink
yeah.
a beer and Cheetos and that's all I'm thinking
Well, my
about.
family's in shambles right now. My dad doesn't have a job. It's all going tits up, as my dad says. So
So
Oh,
do
you
we
might be
want to
the
talk
beginning
about
of, like, a
that?
Breaking Bad episode.
Yeah.
here.
I wanted to get my dad on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, is your dad's a chemist, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
He's never
it.
seen it, and I was like, "You should watch this."
Yeah, he's just gonna. Your dad's gonna have some ideas.
Maybe we can, you get into the drug game and get killed. We can get in on that life insurance. And maybe there's some cash under the house. We sell the house.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at $2 bills.
Yeah.
Okay, $2 mil. Can we live on $2 mil, Evan?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that could.
it's 2 years.
Yeah.
I hate $1 million. It's like no money, and I was like, all right, well,
No,
what do you
I
have?
did not-
Let's go visit you then.
Yeah, what do you got?
No
Yeah.
way. In no way did I mean that.
You were like, what?
What I meant,
Let's like,
what I meant is that logistically, it's just like it doesn't just. It's not like you gotta pay. It's like you gotta take that gotta cover life for a long
Can you
time.
break down the word logistically for me? What does that mean?
As pertaining to logistics.
Oh,
Come on,
Yeah,
give me
this
one. Give me
motherfucker,
one.
dude. This motherfucker. I don't know what that word means. I just say it all the time.
it means
too.
like the moving of
Yeah,
things.
it's the minutia.
like logistics
minutia.
is moving one
It's
thing
like-
to another location.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the
Shipping.
it's coordination.
It is,
It's
yeah.
like
Shipping and handling.
Yeah.
well, that's what it is in trade, but the word logistics is also like it's just the sort of like the details of something. Things have logistics.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, let's
the
yeah,
details
that's-
of your life.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the only one attacking
down
on
to
this
the-
podcast. You're right.
Is there anything you want to plug before we head on out? Skip to my Lou.
I don't I'll plug my dad. Wait, no, hang on.
Plug up your dad,
Plug
bro.
up the dad,
Plug my
if you will.
dad. No, I don't need you can follow me on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're putting out clips, right? Every now and again.
I will if I have one, but I won't go out of my way to get one
Okay.
because
It's
I
pretty enticing for following you.
No, I just mean like I'm so
You'll
like,
get it when you get it. Okay.
It's killing me. Like that
No,
whole
it's-
game is killing me. And so I'm like,
it
if
can
I
be
have a clip
exhausting.
that I like and I like the joke and I'm done with it, and like I'm done working on it for now, I'll put a joke out. But
For sure.
I don't want to kill myself trying to. I just want to.
That's what I'm doing.
It's
I'm
exhausting,
killing myself.
Yeah, it was. I
Killing
deleted
myself.
Twitter and my stomach ache went away. Like I
Oh,
need
good
to-
for you.
Like I didn't. It's killing.
Twitter's so hard and it's bad for you, so I just stay. I don't really fuck with
I
it
don't give a
anymore.
fuck about Twitter.
Anyway, Thank you guys so much for listening. Come on down to Lincoln Lodge if you're in Chicago. It's the best goddamn comedy club in
7
the
nights a week,
city. Kenny, have you got any? This is gonna come out in like 2 weeks or something.
I'm gonna be at the Laugh Factory at 9:30. September 24th. I'm going to be featuring at Sisyphus on October 14th and 15th in
We love that room.
Minneapolis.
I was just there. It's great.
It's a good time. Check me there. Check out the Patreon, for the love of God.
For the love of God.
For the love of God.
If you support the Patreon, you're an angel, and you're contributing to our studio time here so that we can continue making quality content. You are the best.
And look into what really happened on Pearl Harbor.
I like that curveball.
I'm just saying, do your own research.
Are you saying that we intentionally gave the Japanese some information so that they would bomb us, so
Look,
that we would get in the
I'm
war?
not drawing conclusions. I'm just saying, keep asking questions.
Okay. Don't stop.
Absolutely.
Me and Kenyon's dad are hanging out after this.
We're all under the bridge. As
Yes.
we always do.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks. Yep.
Hey guys, you just listened to another episode of Fuck You Dad. If you could follow us on our Instagram, which is FCKYOUDAD podcast. That's the important one. We also have a Twitter account, which is FCKYOUDADPODCA1. If you could follow that. Also, please submit any father stories that you have that you'd like us to make fun of, laugh at, or share. Shoot that to our Instagram DMs. And if you could please go ahead and rate the podcast, share the podcast with your friends and family that might enjoy it, and keep listening. Thank you so much.